has some, somebody who has some real problem, they've broken their back, they've had this, that, and the other, or a scoliotic individual. I'm talking about somebody who has garden variety, like all of us probably, degenerative disease. You should have no back. None. Your low back or your abdominal wall here. I hate to use the C word, it drives me crazy. It's like one of those things that people just made up. It's just no. It's your abdominal wall or your lumbar extension. Like the core thing drives me crazy. But
it's
yeah,
so essential for
it's
everything.
It's critical.
See, your low back is this little and nobody trains it.
That's right.
Oh, my back hurts. No, it doesn't hurt. It's just weak.
That's right. I would tell you the most important part of your body to train is your midsection. Right. And obviously, just say half of your midsection is your low back. All the power is from this area in the body, right? So whether you're doing a squat, a deadlift, even something like an overhead press, right? So we do a lot of standing overhead presses. It's made men and women strong for eons, right? The classic sort of overhead press. Power's from your feet, right? From your feet, right? And how is the force transmitted? The force is transmitted up through the lower body, through the midsection, into the bar, right? So you have to be aware, of the fact that this area of your body is integral, okay, to power generation and power transmission, right? And your bench press, right? Where's the power from? Feet, right? It's from, it is your foundation. You have got to have your feet planted and your entire body is engaged when you are bench pressing. So there's no, in my opinion, right? And it's particularly important as you get older. Bodybuilding is one thing. I'm not really interested in the sport, quite frankly. It's about being functional and being mobile as you get older, right? So you have to do everything you can to preserve that, preserve your mobility at the joint level, and also be as strong as you can. Your entire body has got to be strong. There's no such thing as, what's today? Today is arm day. That drives me crazy more than the core thing. It drives me crazy because I would even tell you, just today's, we're squatting, we're benching, we're deadlifting. Meaning all three of those days are full body days. You are developing strength so that you can exist outside the gym. That's really what I'm about. And I'm giving a lecture on Sunday about this. And I always say that choose the protocols that incorporate big compound anabolic movements. Squat, bench press, overhead press, deadlift, a chin up, pull up, basically fives. Because those map to outside the gym, unlike a bicep. Who cares if you can, right, it doesn't matter, but it does matter if you can deadlift, say, twice your body weight or 3 times your body weight, whatever it is, okay? So, a relatively strong individual, okay, at least in my opinion, can deadlift at least twice their body weight. Bench press, 1.5 times their body weight. Squat, double your body weight, okay? That's when you are sort of categorically strong, in my opinion. But when you do something like a deadlift, what you're actually teaching your body to do is, number one, you're teaching your body to do something that's difficult. That's number one. And you're teaching your body proper mechanics, right? So if somebody asks you to lift something off the ground, move it across the house, and put it down, right? Well, you've done a positive phase of the deadlift, and you've done a negative phase of the deadlift. And by virtue of your familiarity with the movement and the movement mechanics, because you deadlift, you're less likely to injure your back, right? So you take that skill from the gym, right, or from wherever you train, and you take that with you outside. And that's, in my opinion, how training should be geared. Not to have bigger quads, because those are gonna fall by the wayside eventually. Once you stop hammering those 20 rep squats, because you know what I'm talking about, right? You guys have big legs, you guys look great. So I know that there's a lot of reps that have gone into those making those legs, because quads typically take a lot of reps, which is why I don't have big quads. My legs are strong, but the hypertrophy is not there. And quite frankly, it's not that important to me. But it is important to me to be able to squat and deadlift 1 rep heavy, which, as you know, is much more It's more neural than it is, hypertrophy type training, practicing quads, practicing, singles, doubles, and triples, right? You don't typically get these monstrous muscles. You get big muscles like you guys have. A lot of time under the bar, 90 seconds under load, maybe even more. If you guys have ever done 20 rep squats with heavy weight, you're sitting there, those damn things for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and you're in a real dark place, as you know. It's true.
200 squats.
Oh, it's true. Yeah. Oh, it's hard, right? And your legs are on fire, but that will grow your legs because lactate, as you know, is one of the many stimuli, for muscle hypertrophy. You do. But your legs, my legs were the biggest they ever were. And by no means did I ever have big legs, but bigger. When I was, for a year, I was pushing the 20 rep squats, the heavy 20 rep squats and just escalating it. If I got 20, I would go up 5 pounds, escalate it, the next week. And Melissa would just stand there and she'd say, what are you doing? What are you doing? You got 350 pounds on your back and you're standing there and you can barely get 10 and then you just stand there and you get 20. You're done after that. You are finished, but you will have big legs, right? So I would imagine, because you guys both have nice legs, that
Believe it or not, we don't lift heavy.
Yeah, but you do a lot. I guarantee you guys spend a lot of time. It's a lot of right. That's right. This is a lot. It's time under load. Hypertrophy is really time under load, and quads are typically. Every muscle in the body, as muscle group, I should say, is different. In other words, where the optimal time under load is for hypertrophy. But legs are typically, you want to be under load for 90 seconds, which is quite a long time.
It's fast.
It's quite a long time. And some of the smaller muscles, you don't need as much time under load to get them to grow. And everybody's a little bit different. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same. Do you guys do any? Have you guys ever been through like a high intensity circuit? Like a true Arthur Jones, Nautilus, why? Never.
No.
Never.
We need to schedule that.
You guys would love it. Or you will not. If I train you, you will not. You will not love it. You will be very angry at me. Yeah, you'll be very angry at me. So you know why first of all, those are all Nautilus machines. There's a reason. That's like homage to Arthur Jones.
Yes.
Okay. All of these machines that you have in gyms nowadays, right? And they're there obviously for safety reasons, predominantly because those machines are, by virtue of the tracking that's done for you, they're safe. So people are less likely to get injured as opposed to a barbell being dropped on a foot. My brother actually, about 6 weeks ago, 100-pound dumbbell fell on his foot. He shattered his toe. He shattered his toe, and he had to have this little, this sort of small surgery done. It was a huge mess. And he's been training like me all his life. I said, "What are you doing, dummy?" Yeah, I know. But the bottom line, it happens.
On her toe.
Yeah, it happens. It's
25-pound plate.
Yeah. Oh, it's not an uncommon injury. But anyway, these machines were originally designed to work out in a high intensity format. So
you actually do the work, not the machine.
Well, it's not so much that. What it is this circuit, right? There are 10 machines, right? And they're laid out in a certain pattern, right? So it's pretty much a push-pull, upper body, lower body, for the most part, as much as I could get it that way. And what you are doing there is you're going, basically, it's sort of a balls to the wall type of training, slow. And this is originally how Arthur Jones had intended it. Arthur Jones, who was the founder, as you know, of Nautilus Sports Medical Industries, was very, very into efficiency. How do I make a human strong with not the maximal amount of exercise, with the minimum amount of exercise, just let's say in a specific time period, in a discrete time period, say over the course of a week. And he came up with these machines and this philosophy, which he subsequently proven. And basically what it is it's a balls to the wall, till failure, every set, 1 set per exercise, minimal rest between. So when you guys come here, you'll be done. I can put you through a workout and you will not be happy with me, okay? And you give me 15 minutes. 15 minutes, full body. Full body. That's it. That's all you need. And there's a ton of data on this stuff. And its efficacy relative to the efficacy of spending, say, 8 hours in the gym a week. You just don't need to do that. It's just that most people either don't know about this style of training or they can't tolerate it.
That's what I was going
They
to
can't
say.
take, no.
Even the 15
It's routine
minutes
when
of
people
once
come
a
here.
week.
That's right. It's routine when people come here and they're in the bathroom throwing up. It's routine. Yeah, because it's horrible.
It
It is horrible. So
You're gonna
you know.
do it, and I'm gonna.
Yeah. No. And we've had people. We've had.
Probably
Yeah,
some love, that's okay.
and we've had people do that before. You know, come and bring videographers and do it. But you guys should really both go through it because I think obviously you guys have been doing this for a long time. If you haven't actually been through a true high intensity training session, and this is not HIIT. People think, I'm doing HIIT today. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm going to run on the trail. That's sprints. It's Orange Theory. That's totally different than true high intensity training, which is HIT. Just HIT, not HIIT, which is, you do sprint interval and then you go off and you do, some dumbbells that are light and then you go do another sprint. That's Orange Theory, which is fine.
Sure.
But Orange Theory is not a place where you're going to necessarily be able to build muscle. So you're not going to be able to, there's not going to be a lot of hypertrophy stimulus. There's not. Okay. And it's I would say that Orange Theory is good for really one thing. Giving you a little bit of an extra sort of afterburn and maybe, trimming some fat off of your body. That's really what it's for. But it is not for hypertrophy and it is not for strength. You're not going to get that here. Here, it's a little bit different because Arthur, I think, figured out sort of a very, very nice hybrid between the two. You will get stronger here. There's no question. You'll put on a little bit of muscle, not the muscle that you ladies will put on if you do more volume training, which is one of the problems I have with it, particularly for people that want to gain some muscle and look bigger, if that's your goal. But the other thing that's great about this is that because of the fast transitions, you really don't need to do much cardio aside from this. Because when you're done here, you will be gassed.
You're burning while
You will be gassed, you will be huffing and puffing, you'll be dying. Because I'm not letting you sit for 3 minutes between. I'm telling you, as quickly as you can get off that leg press machine, you go over and you sit in that row machine, and I will give you no more than 30 seconds. And you will not be happy. I mean, because the metabolites that are built up in your blood, lactate, if you will, hydrogen ions, they're unkind to your body. They make you, it feels horrible. It feels horrible, and you're huffing and puffing because your blood is becoming acidotic. So you huff and puff to breathe off. That's why you do that, right? You're breathing down what's called your CO2, and that's bringing your body back to a neutral pH, right? That's why you breathe hard when you're exercising, because your body is becoming acidotic, and you need to breathe off, basically. Not exactly, but basically the hydrogen ions are being sort of neutralized, if you will, by virtue of the relative hyperventilation that you're doing. Yeah. So this is it's a great training facility, particularly for people that are novice to exercise, because we have a trainer that puts people through, and they you really feel like you've done something, and you're not spending 3 hours in the gym a day. So it's efficient. And the other thing about it, and probably most importantly, it's safe. You're not getting hurt here. You'll feel like death, but you will not get hurt. You're much more likely to get injured, doing something like powerlifting or something with there's free weights involved. But yeah, see, that's sort of the genesis here. And I grew up training this way. So from the time that I was, say, 15 or so. I started when I was 10. I would say when I was 15, I really got into high intensity training. There was a guy that or there still is a guy, who I was more friendly with, when I lived down south, who was one of Arthur's friends.
Oh, wow.
So I had a sort of an indirect connection, because Arthur lived in DeLand.
Oh,
Yeah, he lived in DeLand, not too far from here, a couple of hours away. And he used to go up there and talk with him, because the guy, Arthur was he's a very, very bright man, very, very bright man. He came up with this concept of variable resistance, which is why all these machines have cams in them and things like that. Those machines are all offshoots of Arthur's, original Nautilus machines. I don't know how old you guys are, but you guys remember that, you guys ever see the old blue Nautilus machine with the big Nautilus shell? That's the cam, right? And that's Arthur's brainchild. So yeah, this was my way of sort of, paying respect to the guy who, was a true innovator, a true innovator. Now, I've migrated more towards powerlifting, just from a functional, standpoint. Again, we talked about deadlifts, right? Lifting a box off the floor is basically a deadlift, right? If you have to move something out of the way for somebody out of the way, right? Well, you know how to generate power from your feet, and again, that's some sort of pressing, type of movement. So that's a bench press, so to speak. So I like to think that the movements that we advocate for, again, bench press, squat, deadlift, overhead press, these basic movements, you can take them with you outside of the gym, that type of strength, whereas you can't take a wrist curl outside of the gym. What is a wrist curl for, right? I mean, come on, what is it for? It doesn't make any sense. You see these people doing wrist curls and for what? If you want to develop a strong grip, and I know I sound like a broken record probably, deadlift.
Yeah.
You should never, it's another one of my 9 million rules, you should never drop a weight. Your deadlift should never fail because you've dropped a weight. No, that should never, ever happen. And quite frankly, you never see it happening. Unless you go to maybe one of these commercial gyms and somebody drops a weight because their grip fails, it should never happen. Because if you're practicing the deadlift, right, your grip strength is going to get stronger. So if you can lift that weight, you can hold the weight. It should never, ever be a failure point, your grip. So way better than doing wrist curls, okay, or even using one of these squeezy things, okay, is just to either deadlift or do, for your abdominals, hanging leg raises, right? Ideally with straight legs, not bent legs, right? Straight legs if you can, right? And that's gonna, generate a significant amount of strength in your flexors, okay, which is basically your grip, your finger flexors. Tell me a little bit about yourselves, guys. I know I'm not supposed to be asking this on this podcast, but I actually want to know. I'm sort of curious. Like, how did this whole thing come about? I know Mackenzie got in touch with you, but I mean, what happened here? I need to understand.
We're from the same area in Stewart.
Yeah.
We started this podcast out of, let's do this for fun and start talking health and fitness.
Right.
And it ended up taking off. We've had some politicians, we had some firefighters.
Yeah, no, I saw it. I think it's terrific. Yeah. I looked.
And one of the guys we interviewed knows Mackenzie, and so she followed me on Instagram, Steve Layton.
Yeah, sure.
And he was actually our first guest.
We know Stephen well. Yeah, Stephen's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy. Stephen, you're a great guy.